now I have to make another video. Okay. First of all, many of you know they're doing a documentary about my life. So I'm used to chronologically making videos. I usually, typically, will make one a week because we've got too much video now. So it's like we have to sift through it. And then we didn't know I was going to get sick. So, and I'm not going to tit for tat on that yet. Because if I talk about how sick I am, then I'm going to say F-bombs. Okay. So, when I make a video, I have to be very careful unless I'm addressing one person. This is my right for free speech, but also you can hurt people by throwing a name out there. And I'm just so used to it. I'm so used to it because we name doctors, we name activists, we name so many people. So sometimes I inadvertently will throw a name out there, and what I'm doing is, especially with social media and with the documentary and with the chronology thing, it's like I decided, okay, let's go back 3 years. I died 3 times in a night. I did. It's the truth. If you want me to get a doctor's report, I will. Show it to you. That's social media for you. So I died 3 times in one night. For some reason, I think it started with my sister's memorial. Yeah, it's been almost 3 years. And, okay, 2.5. Let's be fair. Okay. So when this all started, it was supposed, and I've put videos out here that clarified this. I started a chronology of my life. Not because I'm more important than anyone. I'm not more important. I'm not. I just decided to do it. And so that's when the project started, and that's when the students came in. It was supposed to be a very small project, and it turned into something very big. So about once a week now, I'll make a video. It could be a rant. It could be me falling apart. It could be, in the spring, it tends to be the garden, because that's the way I pulled it together. That's the thing I did that made the whole world make sense. That doesn't mean I don't get frustrated, angry, which, by the way, is my right to feel. I have the right to feel anything I want. That doesn't mean it's true. It just means I'm feeling it. So yesterday, Chris Crocker made a video. See, there I went, naming a name. Chris Crocker made a video, but he's a huge personality on, YouTube and Facebook and everywhere, about dishing it out and taking it. And that's true. It's like people say, if you're going to dish it out, you got to take it. Okay, but I may not want to take it. See, that's what he was saying in the video. It's like, I may not want to take it. So I have a frustration with elitist. And elitist means you're way up here and I'm down here in the pecking order. Well, unbeknownst to them, I'm in the middle of a documentary. I'm in the middle of this whole thing that happened to me. And it's supposed to start on Death and Dying. And now I'm sick. It really was happenstance that it happened. And I've chronologically wanted my life on tape because I wanted my kids to look back and say, my mom was sad, she was mad, she's an activist. I was worried that my children would not know who I was and not understand some of the things that I was going through. Now, other people choose not to put it on film. They choose another venue. Or perhaps somebody's an artist and they make a painting, or perhaps somebody isn't saying anything at all. I'm not responsible for the world. How about that one? I'm not responsible for the world. I talk fast. I've always talked fast since I was a little girl. My mind works that way too. I think in terms, especially when I'm videotaping, I think in terms of long things, of the whole sequence, because I'm doing a chronology. Look it up in the dictionary, chronology. And then the documentary happened. So, of course, we're going to have to beep out names. And, of course, we're going to have to do all the things you do in editing. But at the moment that it happened, like my husband, Timmy, who can be very strange. I'm sure he can call me strange, too. And so this is a kind of clear-up. It's a clear-up. It's not a justification. It's just who I am. And when someone is discouraging in my process, it's very difficult, because being a teacher, I've learned that there's nothing more defeating. There is nothing more stagnated. There is nothing more frustrating than a child that you're trying to teach and one of the other children says, you can't do it. Okay, guys, take it easy. I am trying to pull this student into a learning process. I want their confidence to be high. And sometimes children just don't learn that way. And so one discouraging kid, you can call it bullying if you like. I don't like dropping that word, but I'll drop it right now. You can call it bullying, but it's not bullying. It's a form of like abuse of another person. They're in their process. Let them be in their process. Out here in my neighborhood, there's people that come out drunk at nighttime and they're in the middle of the street, and I'll go out and I'll say, do you need something? Because that's just I'm not better than anyone, but I'm not elitist. Elitist is way up here in the stratosphere. That's when they turn their noses down at you. This is where they don't respect your learning process. Another thing that I heard today, and it's so freaking stupid. That's another word people don't understand. When I was raised, we called things stupid all the time. I'm like, that's stupid. That's stupid. That car is stupid. That person is stupid, and we didn't get offended. Nowadays, if you say that, you're some kind of person. So I'm used to using that vocabulary. In my family, it was like stupid. We called each other pigs too. We're like, oh, you're such a pig. In other words, it was a form of love, the way we communicated. And then we'd be like, you're so stupid. And the other person would say, you're a filthy pig. And we'd be like, you're stupid. You have a turned up nose and you look like a pig. We would say stupid things. So I mean it in the most properest of ways, but I can't find a word to replace that when I say you're stupid. I'm careful on social media not to go, you're stupid. Hey, unless somebody's just a downright, okay, Pip, they're people. They're people walking by. Let it go. So I treat my dogs like people. I treat everything like a person. I treat a cup of coffee like a person. Okay? But I have my issues with taking it. You can dish it out. And when I dish it straight. And I make mistakes too. And I'll admit when I make my mistakes. But I won't take it if what I'm dishing is not golden, and that's your opinion. And then you want me to take a paper plate, just like Chris Crocker said. I gave you a silver platter. You're trying to give me a paper plate. I'm going to stand up to you and say, no, and no, I don't want to take it. Or give me a silver platter and I'll take it. So I was raised that way. We were raised as activists. We were raised as hellraisers. We are seriously hellraisers. But if I see an old woman and she's trying to cross the street, I'm the first one there. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. So I don't like elitists. I don't like people that are way up here. They do have a saying about elitism. It's easier for a rich man to go through an eye of a needle, or for a camel to go through an eye of a needle, than a rich man to go to heaven. My dad said that. The Bible said it. Everybody's saying it. And it's true. They're into... She brings this wolf in front of my house every day. And this is what they do. Okay, Pip, drop the rock. Drop it. Pippi, drop it. This wolf, it's the most majestic, beautiful wolf in the world. And she walks by my house every day. And this is what Pippi and Jimmy do. But they don't know if they went out there, the wolf will probably kill them because they're so majestic and beautiful and they can kill you. So I'm doing this to clarify. We're at 9 minutes. I'm doing this to clarify. Again, clarification. I don't have to explain myself to you. I don't have to tell you who I am as a character. I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. I don't have to tell you anything. But if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But at the same time, this chronology is for me and my life and my documentary. And everything, well, I call it my documentary. It's their documentary. And it's a project. It's watching a human being evolve. It's watching a human being with every feeling known to man. I think on these videos I went from mourning to grieving to happiness to sheer joy to dancing here with my shirt on. I mean, I am insane sometimes for other people, to other people. But for me, this is perfectly normal. And my family, perfectly normal. Like, this is normal for us. We talk 100 miles an hour. We defend each other to the hilt. We will drop F-bombs all day long. It's like my father talked like a sailor. But I'd like to see you pull something over on my dad. He was like Johnny on the spot. Today, this is a perfect example. When I learned to write, I had read Emily Dickinson when I was like 7 years old. I was a proficient reader. And she did everything. And her true writings, now they've mocked her writing and they forgot to leave this in, or put this in, and they made a big mistake. Emily Dickinson wrote in dashes. She'd be like, dash. Over here, dash. Which means I'm not done with my thought yet. There is no period at the end. And being the beautiful writer, and you all know Emily Dickinson, her true writing has a dash, which I went to college for, and we talked about it because I was, that was my minor, literature, and sometimes my major because I loved it so much. So it was like, the tree is green and lovely, dash, which meant don't end that thought. Don't keep it going. Now, she could have wrote it all the way out, but that would have made her, like, I don't know, like a haiku. But Emily Dickinson loved her dashes. She was like, dash, dash. Some people like semicolon. These are English grammar issues. But Emily Dickinson did that, and they study that because it's like, why did she put the dash in? When you connect that whole run on, that's how I write. I'll go, da-da-da-da-da-da. That's one thought. Da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da, ba-da, 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 ba-da. That's the way I think. It's like da-da-da-da-da-da, dash, or comma, semicolon, da-da-da-da-da-da. So this guy points it out. Why do you write weird like that? That's like telling me I'm weird. No, why do you write the way you do? Dash. Come back over here. So when I write in Facebook, I'll go, I'm really sick today. What should I do? What's going on? Question. I'm worried. Over here. Is it your stomach again? Because I'm trying to say it in the way that I'm thinking it. That's not very difficult. It's like, think of it in terms of, some people are really good at one sentence. They'll be like, period. Me, I think in terms of smaller, longer pieces and shorter thoughts. Like, that's great! Exclamation, absolutely beautiful. I could have said absolutely beautiful in the top sentence, but that's not the way I think. I write the way I think. I try to encapsulate in that one statement or statements in terms of Emily Dickinson. She's a perfect example. And they've had disputes over this for 30 years about these dashes. They actually kept the dash out. That was the way she wanted it to be said and thought of. And it was ongoing. And it was just signature of her. And I think I'm a lot like Emily Dickinson. I'll be like, the tree is yellow and succulent due to the pomegranates. Does that make sense? Well, so I've decided to put my life on film. It's a chronology. It may or may not be in the documentary. We have 2 years of editing. It's a lot of stuff. We didn't know I was going to get sick. Who freaking cares? There's a lot of sick people in the world. But when it comes to my garden or anything else that brings me great joy, it's a higher scrutiny. When you're in social media, you will be scrutinized. That's something very habitual of social media. Maybe one day they'll look back on this and say, holy crap, maybe she was onto something. I don't know. Timmy would most likely be the person they'd look up to. I've always had people that thought I was odd, weird, strange, bizarre. To me, I am uniquely myself in this moment. I grow as I go. I try to drop rocks. But if you throw a rock at me, I am the first one on the picket line going, do you want another rock back at you? So I've learned to use this mouth to keep myself going as a survivor. Timmy will get into a conversation, won't even end it. He'll just drop it because he doesn't care. That's just who he is. And I love him for who he is, and he loves me for who I am. I'm very opinionated. I have dreams and hopes and fears and joys and loves and deep, profound moments that are deeply profound to me. Do you hear my social media over there? Somebody said. Okay, so I hate social media. I usually takes me a while to get used to another form of social media like Twitter. I don't get it. Like bizarre, like # and bizarre. It's like, tell me the bizarre. Give me the bizarre. So I don't like Twitter. I'm off Twitter. Ugh, Twitter drives me crazy. These one-time statements are suggestive, innuendoed. I don't innuendo. I come right up to the door and I'm like, hi, I'm here. If you knew me in person, you would like me. A lot of people love me once they meet me. Sometimes at first glance they're a little bit skittish because I'm just bold. I'm brazen. I'm much like this one writer who ended up killing herself. And she was a lesbian. And she was trained at Cambridge. I'm not going to drop her name. She was trained in Cambridge College, but all the men were in Cambridge, and she was a female. And she always wore pants, which back then was a big deal. And she wrote this beautiful piece, and she is highly acclaimed now. Highly acclaimed writer. And much like Susan Platt. Oh, yeah. And she wrote and basically obliterated the male world. She did. In one section, and we studied that, and I loved it. And my approach to that on a 30-page paper was, this woman is taking a shot at men. She really is taking a shot at men. And I loved her for it, because in that time, they were in the women's college, and they would look at Cambridge, and all the men were smoking cigars and having a cocktail. And they were over in the women's college getting suckered. They couldn't even have a drink. They had to sneak it in. So she would look at Cambridge and be like, you're not better than me. But she did it in such an eloquent way. I wish I was more like her. I'm not as eloquent as she is, but I'm very matter of fact. So if I won't make a video because I don't like one of your eyebrows. But if you lift your eyebrow at me, I'll be like, what's wrong? Why are you lifting your eyebrow at me? I take everything very literal. Very literal. If you don't like me, don't speak to me. Don't innuendo that possibly there was some confusion. Come straight out the gate and be like, hey, lady, are you talking to me? Because if you're talking to me, I would like to know what you said. And I'm much like Chris Crocker in that way. I'm just like, and I won't take it if you're dishing it out. I was raised that way. I respect my father and mother. They stood up for anything that they felt was justified. And they taught me to be this way. If you don't like the way I communicate, don't pay attention. It is social media. Come to my house, look me in the eye, and you might just get it. I know this. If I see you, just like when I go to the garden center and everybody's in love with me and they see me and they come to me and they're like, Cindy, Cindy, Cindy. Because I'll sit there, take a break in their workday and be like, what's up, lady from Australia? What's up in the outback? Hey, Colette Chica. Man, they're working you to death. That's my thing. The neighbors out here, they know me. They're like, what's up, Cindy? And then there are some that are very proper. They're like, Cindy, how are you doing today? And I'm like, I noticed that you're doing your cabinets. See, I notice everything. I notice every little detail. I acknowledge every little detail. So if you get all pissed off at me because of the way I write or the way I type in social media or the way I express myself, you are definitely treading on light flooring because you need to approach me well, maybe you don't need it. Maybe you should approach me in a way where you would discover more about me and say, yo, lady, are you dishing out something I don't want to take? And I'll be like, yo. So by the way, when I name drop, there is a plethora of other names that are just like that. Don't take it personal. I take it personally with things that I want to split hairs on. Otherwise, I don't take it personal. Just like, whatever, that's the way you feel. This is the way I feel. Get to know me. And if you don't want to get to know me, then go get to know yourself. But don't mess with my chi. My chi means my peace of mind, my place of happiness. I've learned to defend it. So many come along and try to snatch your happiness. They're just so rude. So rude. You know, I think Nene Leakes said it best. You're so rude. You know, because it's like, rude means you're abruptly coming in, interrupting something. But see, when I'm having a conversation on a video, you can't say anything, can you? You can't be so rude. If I'm rude in person, you're never going to know that because you're on social media. You don't know what's going on. I am putting it all out there. Go through the other videos and say, wow, she really has moments of happiness or joy, or she dances, or she does this, or that. Get to know my full character. But as far as my chronology, you're not going to mess with it. You don't like it? Report me. Report me. I always get the video back up. It is my right to freely speech. My freedom of speech. When I type, it's my freedom to write. Type. Walk outside, go to the garden, start crying, start getting angry, tell somebody I don't like it. I don't like what you said. It doesn't help my learning experience. But you know how many friends I have that really are teachers for me? I have so many I can't even count. I mean, they have taught me more than I've ever learned in this lifetime. And that's why I'm making this video. It's important to say that there are very truly good teachers out there, excellent teachers of everything, philosophy, literature, English, theater, arts, the liberal arts. You know how much I love the liberal arts. I totally love that. There's people out there, freedom of speeching on whistleblowing. There's so many avenues. So let's use social media to just try to get to know somebody. We're not giving cups of sugar out no more. That's over with, man. Who's going to say something if nobody wants to say anything? And if all they have to say is something, then when you're messing with people's chi, leave people's chi alone. Let them be who they want to be when they want to be that. See, like that tree, I'm looking at the tree and it's just uniquely its own. And it always remains the same. Maybe a branch gets ripped off, but it's always the same. And I'm always the same. I'm always going to tell you I don't like that or like that. I'm always going to be the first one to notice your great character and say, I like you. You're an amazing person, especially when it comes to gardeners. There are specific people who have the patience of Job. And I will always be understanding, and I will always see your defeat, and I will always say, oh my God, there are no words. Food is one of my most important things because when this all started, I was a vegan and non-GMO. So I absolutely am in love with food. I think food is the future for our children. And it is something very important to me. If you want to know, ask me. But I can dish it out, but I may not take it. At least take it in the sense that when you're dishing it out, I may not like what you're dishing. If you don't like what I'm dishing, tell me I'm dishing. And say, no, I don't accept that. And I'll go, okay, moving on. So I'm moving on, social media. I'm moving on. Move on to. Let it go. Don't be obsessed. It's social media. It's my chronology. It's our documentary. It's my life. My children will look back on this and say there's a lot of stuff I didn't know about my mother. And that is what's important to me. My grandchildren, their children, for the future.